Hello. What's up, Jason? How you doing? Can you hear me? I think I'm live. I think I'm live right now.
Hello.
Oh, yep, let me
What's up, Jason? How you doing?
there we go. Okay, I should be live now. I'm going to type on here. I got my menu pulled up. I'm ready to go. Let me check. Cool. Cool. So it looks like it's just you right now, Jace. How you doing, brother? Oh man, I just got back from the eye doctor, and my eyes are, I got my pupils dilated. So everything's kind of blurry, but I can see my screen right here. So it looks good. So do you have your Return of the Living Dead ready to go? I got my drink. So let me see. Yeah, I only got one. Looks like it's just me and you, Jace. Awesome. So what I might do, and you let me know if you think this is cool. What I might do is just go public, and we could just let the whole thing go. Oh yeah, I got the Blu-ray too. I got the Shout Factory edition. So, what do you think about that? Would you want to go public, or would you want to just? I mean, me and you, we can watch this together too. That'd be cool, and we could just chat it up. I'm cool either way, brother. Okay, cool. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can change it to public while I'm live. There he is. Dead Jester Circus. What's up, brother? How you doing? You know what? I might, instead of going public, what I'll do is I'll just post the link over to Killer Flicks. Because we don't need to have everybody watching us, right? So let me see. Let me go over to Killer Flicks real quick. So DJ, are you at work today? Just posting this link, guys. Hold on just a second. Even better knowing that we're about to watch. Yeah, man, Return of the Living Dead is so fun. And I didn't. I only discovered this movie like maybe 10, 15 years ago, something like that. But it took me a long time to finally watch it. But yeah, it's a fun ass movie. Now, are you guys watching the Shout Factory edition, or are you doing the? I think this is the MGM release. I actually have both releases. I had to get that Shout Factory edition because it had that poster, and then it had, all these new features and whatnot. So, yeah. Let me see. First naked chick I saw when I was 6 years old. Yeah, that scene really took me back, or aback, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Same. I was just out of high school when I saw it first, and yes, I got the Shout Factory Blu-ray queued up. Yep, that's the one I got. It's crazy to me that Dan O'Bannon directed this. I didn't even realize that, because this is just so different than the first Alien. But hey, I don't know. I like Dan O'Bannon's. You can tell he's got kind of a wicked sense of humor, and it fits into this movie perfectly. All right. Okay, guys. I think I'm ready to hit play. What do you guys think? Are you guys ready to go? Let me know. Settings. Video highlight control. Let me see. Edit this. All right, cool guys. Well, hold on just a second. Let me get this up. All right. Let me get my remote. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, Return of the Living Dead. Here we go. I'm going to count you down from 10, okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play film. More brains. The events portrayed in this film are all true. The names are real names of real people and real organizations. It's so funny that they started off with that. I think it's like Dan O'Bannon's way of sticking his nose up, at the corporations. which is only fitting. Yep, there's the great Clu Gallagher, which I think he's still alive. And Tom Matthews. I just met Tom Matthews. I actually had a nice little conversation with him. Went over to Spooky Empire. And nicest guy in the world. Really, just a sweetheart of a guy. I'm going to turn mine up just a hair. So, he's a new employee at this... I'm trying to figure out what this organization is that he works at. You guys might have to help me out. Yeah, I heard about Dylan's New Nightmare fan film, actually. It sounds really cool. I know Cecil from the horror show, he's directing that thing, which is really cool, actually. And I saw some of the images of Dave McCray. He posted an image of him wearing like the whole Freddy getup. Dave is going to be an awesome Freddy. He will definitely be an awesome Freddy. The guy, he's just like a voice maestro. He really is. The actor who played Frank just recently passed. Oh man, I didn't know that. That sucks. And what's interesting about this movie too is like, before I saw it, I always thought that it was like a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. And then, after watching it, of course, I became obsessed with it and I started researching it. And it's interesting that the John Russo and Romero, they were like partners for Night of the Living Dead, and then they split off. Romero made Dawn of the Dead, and then Russo got this made, Return of the Living Dead. Oh yeah, Dave, man, he's great stuff. He really is one of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to, and it's so cool doing like Hallowstream with him because he's just a wealth of not just Halloween knowledge, but just knowledge in general. He's a really cool dude. He really is. I'm really jealous of him, if I'm being honest. to be able to be that comfortable and well spoken with people, he's a real deal. And I could swear I've heard his voice on like commercials before. He just has I don't know if maybe he just sounds like somebody, but I think he's done some pretty high profile stuff. So now we're getting our first look at the zombies, or the first zombie anyway. And the dead, they don't, or at least at this point in the movie, they don't look like anything to write home about. They're not like that amazing, but the comedy horror angle of this movie makes it work so well. And they do have some good looking zombies in this movie though. And this kind of changes the game up too, because this was the first movie, I believe, where they craved brains. They wanted to eat your brains. So Jason, you contributed to Dylan's New Nightmare. That's awesome, man. And I think that's great that you're supporting, independent horror, young horror filmmakers, and especially this type of stuff, because everybody wants a new Freddy movie, And Cecil's movie looks like it could be pretty good. It really does. So I'll definitely watch it. I'm looking forward to it. Now we got the cast. I love this cast. They're all so different, but yet they're like a group of punk rock friends, which is another extension of like Dan O'Bannon's personality. Dan O'Bannon's like, he doesn't look, it's funny, he's punk rock. I call him punk rock even though he looks the opposite of punk rock. He looks like a dweeb. And I mean that in the most loving, affectionate way. Did you ever see the original prosthetic made by Bill Munns for the yellow zombie? It's horrendous. No, but I can imagine. The yellow zombie, I remember when I first saw this, I was like, oh man, these, when I first saw that yellow zombie, I was like, oh god, these zombies don't look the best. Especially if you come off of work from, like, even Night of the Living Dead. The zombies look great in Night of the Living Dead. I will say Dawn of the Dead, the zombies, they definitely have their own look to them. They're blue, but They don't really go all out in Dawn of the Dead, but Dawn of the Dead is such a great movie that I guess you don't have to have the best special effects. Now, when they take a bite, like when that one zombie takes a bite out of the girl's shoulder, his wife's shoulder, that shit freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. Now, this is the boss that every guy wants to have, you know? Freddy's boss. Freddy's boss is just like, he's cool. You know, but he's a good worker. He's a good manager. But he's not like on his ass all the time. He gives him life lessons. That's the boss that you always want to have. And I've had some stinkers for bosses. I will tell you that right now. But this guy's awesome. Man, I swear, Tom Matthews looks so freaking young in this movie. This was his first movie. And he was extremely green. Jason, this is my favorite zombie movie as well. It is definitely my number one favorite zombie movie. Just because it's so different and it's so fun. I just had, did you guys eat dinner yet? I just had hamburger helper. So. This is kind of cool, just like three dudes hanging, watching Return of the Living Dead. This is badass, actually. Let me see. Let me go over here. Now, and Freddy, he's a new employee, so he's nervous. He's trying to figure out what's going on, and they reference Night of the Living Dead in this too, actually. But it's referenced as a movie. It's not referenced as real life. So, yeah, Matthews is definitely the best Tommy Jarvis, I think. I like Feldman, but it's like all three Tommy Jarvises are completely different, and I think the one from part 5 is a logical extension of Feldman's, but for some reason he's so forgettable, the Tommy Jarvis in part 5. Whereas Tom Matthews, he's nothing like the previous two incarnations of Tommy Jarvis, but he's a damn good actor and he's very entertaining. So that more than makes up for it. Return of the Living Dead is my Mount Rushmore of zombie movies for sure. Hard to top the original Night of the Living Dead for me. Yeah, and you know what? They're just so different. And that's what's great. I love that they're so different. You know, it's like you can have your cake and you can eat it too. If you want like the really serious, depressing zombie movie, but still highly rewatchable, Night of the Living Dead. And if you want the comedy horror that's just so fun, has, they're cracking jokes all the time, very self-aware, knows what it is Return of the Living Dead. I love the soundtrack to this movie too. They just started the opening credits, and there's Tarman, or is that Tarman? You got the title. Like, you guys are probably matched up with me. You got the title, and then that zombie that's behind there. It looks like it could be Tarman, but I'm not sure. He looks like Tarman. I think that is Tarman. I have a Tarman action figure, by the way. Yeah, great cast. Now, I'm trying to remember if this is the first movie I saw in the Equiglian. I don't think... No, it's not, because I saw Silent Night, Deadly Night. Way back in the day. I remember in the 80s when Silent Night, Deadly Night came out, and it was really controversial. And I got it on VHS for rent when it came out for rent. A couple years later. And so that would have been the first time I saw Linnea Quigley. I didn't know she was Linnea Quigley at the time. I didn't know she was like this, horror icon. At that point, I don't know if she did so many movies in such a short amount of time that it's hard to pinpoint when it all started with her. But boy, this is definitely her most memorable performance. For sure. I didn't even realize she's actually in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. She's like in Freddy's chest. And of course she's naked. Directed by Dan O'Bannon. Rest in peace. Boy, O'Bannon definitely had a chip on his shoulder about Alien. You know, about how the producers handled the situation. You know, went over his head, tried to pretty much steal his script. That poor guy, yeah, he was pretty salty up until the bitter end, I think, about that whole situation. But you probably see stuff like that in Hollywood anyway, you know, all those business deals. Yeah, in Night of the Demons is one I saw for the first time last year. Love that movie. I still need to watch the second one. I was just thinking about the second one actually today that I need to watch it. Hey, what's up, Holly? Holly's in here. That's okay, Holly. Let me give you a timestamp. We are. Let me see. Maybe I need to. I'll post the link over at the Patreon page because I know we all have lives and we get busy and we forget. So maybe I'll go post. But good to see you in here, Holly. Let me hit my display here. We are at. If you want to put your movie on, we're at 11 minutes 45 seconds. So about 12 minutes in is where we're at. And you know what? Yeah, I better let me copy this link here. And I'll go to the Patreon page. Now, this is the section of the movie that feels the most out of place, even though it's a major part of the script. I always think of Spies Like Us when I see this scene. You know, the military guy, the stiff, which is funny because I was in the Air Force, so I shouldn't be saying that, but yeah, he looks like a stiff. And then here we're back to the punk rock scene. Now you can definitely see some film damage there in that first shot. You could see some specks, some dirt. If I'm getting all technical and whatnot. Hold on. Let me see. We're live now. Come on in. Come on in and say hi if you get a chance. There we go. Now, this cast here, you could tell that they did a lot of rehearsal for this because everybody's just like boom, boom, boom. You know, they hit their marks. And if you watch the behind the scenes on this, you'll see that, yeah, they did a lot of rehearsal. And you could tell that the cast had a good time with each other, you know, which is awesome. Okay, there we go. Mikey Weiss, what's up, man? Open title. Yeah, I was talking about the opening title credits. That it's so freaking awesome, that music. I love this soundtrack so much. I need to find this on vinyl somewhere. That's what I need to do. I was just listening to, which this has nothing to do with Return of the Living Dead, by the way, but yeah, this right here. I found this. We have this flea market. I hope you guys can see this. It's the Superman soundtrack from 1978. But I found that at a flea market, our local flea market. It's open every weekend, and just tons and tons of everything that you could possibly want in your life, and a lot of retro stuff like vinyl. There's a big VHS store there too, but I pretty much bought out all the good stuff. So, as I would, very little in the way of horror now. So, yeah, I had a long day at work too, Holly. I was actually sealing a deck here in Melbourne, Florida. It was beautiful today. It was gorgeous. And so I was just out there all day putting that Thompson's water seal on a deck and just chilling. It was nice, actually. But I was sore. I was tired when I got home. Then I had to go to the eye doctor. So I got my pupils dilated. So I look kind of weird now. But so now they're the boss, he's all sick. He got a whiff of the toxic fumes. And Freddie's like, what the fuck is going on my first day of work here? Poor Freddie. I mean, think about it. This is Freddie's first day of work. Can you imagine if it's your first day of work and your boss releases a zombie outbreak? Wouldn't be too fun. I've always had like this dislike for horror movies that involve sickness. Like people get it, vomiting, and because I'm not a big fan of vomiting anyway, but all that stuff. Except for zombie movies. For some reason, it works for zombie movies. So it doesn't bother me as much because I guess it's part of the meal. Michael Rakes, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Sorry I'm late. Been a busy day. Yeah, I know everybody's been busy. Maybe I should start moving these things to like 9 if you guys want. So I know we're all busy. I'm on the East Coast too, and I know some of you guys are on a different time zone. So maybe if I do it like 9 p.m. Eastern, maybe an hour later for next month's. And I want you guys to tell me what movie we're watching next month. I always seem to pick them every time, so I'm thinking I want to give my patrons the chance to pick the next movie. So I'll probably post something on the patron page tomorrow or whenever, and just to get suggestions from you guys. Midnight. Yeah, right. Man, I got like 10 hours sleep last night. That's the most sleep I've had in years. I got home from work, and I just as soon as I lay down in that bed, which was like 8 o'clock at night, I just passed out. Oh, Jason, Rocky 2. I'm glad you mentioned that. I think it was you that mentioned doing either Creed 2 or Rocky 2 for Thanksgiving. I love that idea, and I think maybe we should do one maybe like the weekend after Thanksgiving. Let's see. Well, I guess that would be next weekend. I'd like to do that like around Thanksgiving time, or maybe the week after Thanksgiving or something like that. So maybe we could squeeze in another one for this month and do like Rocky 2. Because Rocky 2 is one of my favorite movies. It's funny, like Rocky is one of my favorite movies, but Rocky 2, I might like a little bit more than Rocky, if I'm being honest, just because the final fight is so goddamn amazing. Okay, I veered off. That's what I start talking. But this is a patron live stream anyway, so who cares? We can talk about whatever we want. Holly says, and the original cover art is just beautiful. I was obsessed with it when I was a youngster, staring at the VHS copy my dad had. Now, are you talking about Superman, or are you talking about Return of the Living Dead? Mikey, I actually had hamburger helper. Tonight my wife made delicious hamburger helper lasagna. What did you have for dinner? Because I know you're a big bodybuilding type dude. So I know you're very strict on what you eat. So did you have like chicken with like rice and something green and water? Am I close? Home Alone 2 for Christmas. Hell, Home Alone for Christmas. That could be fun. Return, okay. I need to find Return of the Living Dead on VHS. And I looked it up. It's pretty expensive on VHS. Oh, guys, we are at the trash scene at the Tombstone. That iconic, do you ever think about death line? Jesus. This scene's crazy too, because I remember like Dan O'Bannon, like how can I say this without being I guess her region wasn't closed. Let's put it that way, okay? And they didn't expect that when they came to the set. See, I already got a message held for review. Isn't that hilarious? Let me see. Hold on. But that is such an iconic scene. Not just for the obvious reasons, but it'll go down in horror history. It really will. Rocky 2 for the win. That moment when Adrian says win and Mickey, what are we waiting for? I get goosebumps every single freaking time, Tom. You ain't kidding. And then they play Redemption right after she says win. Oh God. That is probably one of the most powerful movie moments. It's been a long day that I've ever seen. Oh, by the way, I also have you can hear I have iced oatmeal cookies. I'm a sucker for I like hard cookies. Unless they're hot, then I like them soft. But iced oatmeal hard cookies from the dollar store. So Mikey says, very close. I had tacos every night of the last year. 1 pound beef, tortillas, barbecue chips, barbecue veggies. Delicious. That sounds delicious, actually. Now I want tacos. Love the crotch mold on track. Yeah. Thank you, Alec. That's what I was trying to say. Crotch mold. So tonight's key phrase is crotch mold. Okay? I'll have to change the title. But yeah, here's my and those who watch the rewatch are going to give me so many dislikes because I'm not talking about the damn movie at all. I'm talking about what I'm eating. I'm talking about crotch mold. I'm talking about everything but. Yeah, this is an awkward scene. A completely buck naked yellow. He doesn't look like a zombie. He looks like a yellow dude. Just runs and attacks Clue Gallagher. And that's what you call a fresh zombie. Fresh meaning they don't have like any cuts or, decay hasn't set in. But this particular zombie had a hot case of jaundice. Can you guys tell me why he was yellow? Yeah, and this is this scene where he's sawing his head off. It looks like it costs $2.75 to film, but it works. So you got to go with I think that's what you got to do when you're doing your effects. You got to start with the cheapest possible way and work your way up. In this case, the cheapest way worked. The password is crotch mold. Yes, Holly, Dollar Tree. Man, I tell you, Dollar Tree is really stepping up their game. I'm in shock. I'm amazed at what I see at the Dollar Tree every time I go there. I mean, you could live out of the Dollar Tree. Pretty soon they're going to be selling like generators and bicycles there. It's crazy. Ernie the Embalmer, yeah, he is a very unique character. He's a little left of center. This movie has a lot of really interesting characters. By the way, I'm having a blast with you guys. Dead serious. And if you look at the all the pinups behind Clue Gallagher on the locker there, that is quintessential 80s. You know, all the Playboy pinups. And Playboy doesn't even have like pinups anymore. It's just articles. And I remember when I first saw this, because now we're back at the graveyard, and I thought for sure that Trash, after she does her dance, she'd put her clothes on. Nope. She pretty much keeps them off the whole movie. That dude is. That dude looks really tall, or maybe just Linnea Quigley's is really short. 80s movies just had that charm you don't see anymore. That's, yeah. Charm is definitely a good word for it. He's got a point. He tells her to show some respect for the dead because she's dancing naked in a graveyard. You can definitely tell no women worked there. Yeah, exactly. I remember, when I was in the military, it's funny you can see all the changes throughout time because I was in the military for, well over 20 years. And when I first came in, you would literally see pinups like that in like, the break rooms where we worked. And as time went on, they were like, that's offensive. You can't do that. So then now you won't see any of that stuff. Did you know Suicide was Vic in Friday Part 5? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, Suicide, he didn't even have like a residence. Like he had just moved to, now I don't know if he did Part 5 or if he did this movie first, because I know they came out around the same time. I think this is one he did first. But like he was pretty much homeless. Like the guy didn't even have a residence when he tried to get the part for Return of the Living Dead, which was pretty interesting. And I'm sure there's a lot of stories like that, especially in the 80s, of young starving actors. Hell, starving directors. Look at Rennie Harlan, who did Nightmare 4. When he did Nightmare 4, he was like sleeping on his friend's couch, wearing the same clothes every day. He stunk. And he would show up at New Line Cinema every day begging to get that job. And eventually they just gave it to him. We are at the Ernie the Embalmer. Yeah, the group definitely doesn't seem like they would hang out with each other. Well, if you look at the group, like all the punk rockers, they're all like dressed. It's like they took a person from different parts of society and put them all together and told them to go into a graveyard and hang out. What's up, Mimi? You got to check out the movie Headhunter. It's a medieval horror movie. That could be pretty cool. I like medieval horror. What is the last medieval horror movie I've seen? I'm trying to remember that. So they just brought the body that they sawed the head off of to Ernie. And they're about to tell Ernie what's what. Every zombie movie, they come up with their own rules. And this one's interesting, too, because you can even cut up the body into, like, small pieces, like 10 small pieces. And it still, like, moves. So the only way you can kill it is if you burn it. Kyle Winfrey, what's up, man? Always rented this in Night of the Demons on VHS when I was a teen for the Linnea Quigley scenes, of course. This and Night of the Demons are... I can't think of a better double feature out there. If there's a ranking idea for me. Top 10. I'm calling it first before somebody else does it, okay? Or actually, Mikey, you get credit for this. But top 10 double features. What do you guys think? Horror double features. That could be a fun top 10 right there. God damn, you guys got my wheels spinning now. I'd have to give Mikey full credit for that. I'm going to get a monster. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I was actually thinking about Army of Darkness. That's definitely a medieval horror type movie. I know there's more of them though. So this movie really kicks in once the zombies start coming out of the graveyard. I've always had this thing for that iconic image of like a hand coming out of the dirt. I don't know, there's just something so cool about seeing a dead body really rising from, I guess, kind of like the crow. Seeing a dead body just come out of the ground, hand, that iconic image, hand up. Those are my favorite types of zombies. And I think one of the reasons for that is Thriller. The Thriller video. I remember watching the Thriller video in the 80s and just being obsessed with it, being in love with it because of the scene where the zombies come out of the ground. It's just so badass. I have not seen Return of the Living Dead 2. I've seen 3, which I love. But for some reason, I just never felt the need to watch 2. I don't know why. And isn't Freddy in 2? But 3 is definitely... Like, it's funny. Like, 3 is one of my favorite zombie movies as well, and they're both in the same franchise. Like, I think 3 is what Warm Bodies wanted to be, but failed miserably. See, Jason's already doing the homework right there. Jaws, Tremors, Jason Lives, Dream Warriors, Halloween 2, and Visiting Hours. Yeah. You could also say Halloween 2 and Hospital Massacre. Although Hospital Massacre, it pales in comparison to Halloween 2. And that's just saying how bad of a movie Hospital Massacre is, even though it's kind of fun. Now, you can see Freddy starting to look a little pale there. So he caught a whiff of the gas, too. So they're about to release the gas into the city. Yeah, because when he burns the body, then it releases the fumes, and then the gas like spreads. Am I right? Or I could be totally wrong. Freddie and Frank are both in it in almost identical roles. Okay. Return of the Living Dead 2 has a Michael Jackson zombie cameo when they are electrocuting the zombies near the end. That is hilarious. Oh, that's interesting. That alone makes me want to kind of watch it. Yep, so they just opened up the fire pit and they're about to toss the dead remains in there. Now, I think, wasn't Return of the Living Dead like one of the first comedy horror movies? I don't think it was the first. I'm sure there's something else that was before that, but just, I mean, like owning it and being a full-on, straight-up horror comedy, I think Return of the Living Dead is that. Yeah, Return of the Living Dead and Shaun of the Dead, those are both great suggestions for a double feature. There's so many great. I mean, you could. That's a list that you could really get creative with. Oh, there's that music again. Man, I love this soundtrack. So cool. Yep. So I was right. Yeah, they burn the body, and then the fumes come up, and then it starts raining, and the rain causes the gases to go back down into the ground, and then we get the zombies rising from the earth. Poor Linnea Quigley, having to be naked like just every day on set because this probably was what, like a month shoot, something like that, and most of that she probably had to be naked. So, Martin Renner, what's up, man? Everybody say hello to Martin. He is my newest patron. Welcome to the group. We're happy to have you. And look for these every month. We're going to be doing at least one of these every month. And we were just talking about doing maybe for after Thanksgiving, maybe doing Rocky 2, which is a great Thanksgiving movie to do. That could be fun. Now you got the young people. They're starting to freak out. Linnea Quigley wants a towel really bad. You can tell why. For a horror comedy that knows what it is, this is a really well shot film. Dan O'Bannon did a great job directing this. He really did. It's definitely a testament to like how important editing is in movies. A lot of times, it's like the silent aspect of filmmaking that people tend to not really think about, but this movie's edited so well, and by that I mean there's very little dry spots in it, but it's not like go go go, it's not like hitting the ground running. No, it takes its time, sets up the characters, sets up the story, and then once it gets going, it doesn't let up. That's my preferred pace too. That's a good pace. Let me get into the story a little bit, so that way I can be there with the characters when the shit really hits the fan. Linnea Quigley cannot catch a break basically in any movie. Zombies, murderous Santa, street gangs, demons. Yeah, you ain't lying. I tell you that the Night of the Demons lipstick scene is one of the most unique scenes I've ever seen. It's very strange. Yeah, and I love just how, as time goes on, you can see like Freddy just descending. You know that it's not going to end well for him. You know he's going to turn into a zombie, and you're just waiting for it to happen. And I love when he finally does because it's such a hilarious scene, and we'll wait until we get there. But I think the way the scene was handled was perfect because it was funny. It was really funny. It makes me think like shooting a horror comedy is not easy either because you have to find that line between making fun of your movie or just because these are real events that are happening. They're not like poking fun along the way, stating that no, this isn't really happening. No, this is like shit is really hitting the fan, and there are some intense moments in this movie, but it's still a comedy kind of. So, I mean, bravo to O'Bannon for maintaining that tone throughout because it's not an easy tone to adhere to. It's not. I mean, you could easily fall on your face when doing a horror comedy, because you have to stay the course with your vision the whole way. And if you take it too far or if you don't take it far enough, then your movie can fall on its face. Oh yeah, Tarman is the best. What's in that rain? This has so many great lines in it. Oh, I like this shot right here. You got the camera like moving through the graveyard, but you can tell there's like some kind of effect on there. Yep, here we go. Zombies are starting to break through. Every time I put on lipstick, I think of Linnea. Me too, Holly. Do you guys think this is the best zombie movie of all time? James Morant, what's up, man? Welcome. It's my favorite. It is. It is my favorite zombie movie. Um, Also, one of my favorites, if I have to do like a couple of extra zombie movies that I really, really, really love, 28 Weeks Later. I prefer 28 Weeks Later over 28 Days Later. I love that movie. I don't know. There's just something about it. That scene where the dad sees his wife for the first time after he deserted her. That's a pretty powerful scene. And it's scary. I mean, it's really scary, that he kisses his wife and then he kills her. He becomes he gets infected with the rage virus. So I think our main character is Tina or Trish. Hold on just a sec. I got my cheat sheet up here. Tina, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Tina's. I mean, technically she's kind of our final girl in the movie, but that's another interesting aspect about this movie too, is that as far as like the women in the movie go, I think Linnea Quigley steals the show big time. And you don't really hear people talking about Tina that much. And she's the final girl. But there's Tarman. Oh, I love Tarman. Tarman is probably my favorite zombie. They got he's an actual actor to play Tarman because he's like a physical type of actor, and it worked brilliantly. But yeah, look at the way he moves, that's striking. Very striking. Yeah, I wonder if the guy, I got his name here too, that did Tarman. Alan Troutman. Yeah, Alan Troutman did Tarman. I wonder if he did it. I'm sure he did some other work, but man, he was great in this. Now I'm still thinking about Linnea. Like Linnea has had such an interesting career. She did so many. I think her first movie too was Savage Streets, which I love Savage Streets. If you haven't seen Savage Streets, definitely check it out. But she had to. She was like raped in the movie. Her character was raped in the movie, and it's an intense scene. That movie. It's not a comedy. It's got Linda Blair in it, but I love it. Savage Streets is great, but that was like her first movie, and even for her first movie, we got a rape scene for you, and she's like, let's do it. And so when they were doing the scene, of course they were trying to take it easy, and she was like, guys, let me have it. She's a trooper. Linnea Quigley she was up for anything in the 80s. She was awesome. I heard the actress who played Tina really hurt herself running up those stairs. Oh, that's interesting. I could see that. I've always been interested in like actors or even stunt people who got hurt on set, behind the scenes type stuff. I was just telling my son about the Christian Bale freak out on Terminator Salvation, because we've been going through the Terminators, and yeah, that scene. There's a scene in the movie where he's talking, and then I guess behind the scenes there was a lighting guy, and he just flips the fuck out. And you can find it on YouTube too, actually, and you can just listen to him like losing his mind. But I love that type stuff. That's just like, it's like candy for me. Yeah, Freddy looks like he's looking really bad now. And I don't think, like, the paramedics are like, what the hell's wrong with this dude? No amount of medication is going to fix him. There was a scene I'm jumping all over the place. There's a scene in Rob Zombie's Halloween at the end where you got Myers. You couldn't get through this without me mentioning Halloween, right? Myers is at the end. He's facing Laurie. It's the end of the movie, and he lunges into her, and they both go off the balcony. And behind the scenes, if you watch that Michael Lives documentary, there was a set of boxes, like this big, it's like a bed of boxes for the stunt actors to fall into. And it's funny because the width of this bed of boxes was like gigantic. It was huge. So there's like no way she could miss this thing, right? She missed it. And she either ended up falling in the side, or she went through like a sliver in the middle. And so she like literally just missed the boxes, and she landed like flat on her side, and she got fucked up really, really bad. Like, had to go to the hospital. I think it might have ruined her career. I mean, it jacked her up really bad. And that shit happens all the time, though. Stunt people aren't invincible. The Christian Bale rant is hilarious. Poor lighting. That lighting guy had a bad day that day. I mean, he got his ass reamed by Christian Bale. At least he can say that, he got his ass reamed by Christian Bale. But that didn't sound too good either. Now, there's a scene. Yeah, the scene where Trash, she gets engulfed in zombies. She did say that behind the scenes they got a little, extras. They really, especially if they're dressed like zombies, they really get into to character. Yeah, and they're about to attack her now. And she said that they really took it a little bit too far, and she was a little scared. She was nervous. Plus, I mean, when this scene was happening, she was bottomless at the time. So I can imagine she was probably like a little nervous. But then she becomes one of the most iconic zombies of all time. I guess you could call her the Trash Zombie. Yep. Here comes the best song ever. It's Party Time. I think if you have a party, if you're a horror fan, you almost have to play this song first. Like, this should be the first song that you play. Carrie Ann Moss broke her ankle on The Matrix. Yeah, I'd believe that. Because I know she did a lot of her own stunts in that movie too. You know, because they had her on the wires and everything. And there was like one scene where they're wanting her to like, she has to like touch like 3 walls. That scene where she does 3 walls like all the way around the room. I don't know if that's the scene where she broke her ankle, but that'd probably be a good guess. Check out the documentary More Brain, Return of the Living Dead on YouTube. Very interesting. More Brains. Yeah, I was actually just watching that. That's on the Shout Factory Blu-ray too. Mikey Wise says, "Oh, good for you." That's my Christian Bale impersonation. Karath Shieu. I'm sure I butchered your name. I'm always so interested in stunt actors. They're so underprivileged. Yeah, I mean, the work that they do, I think, is just amazing. You know? I mean, you're literally putting yourself... Like, every day they go to work, they put themselves in danger. You know, they could get a broken leg. It's very possible that they could break something at work every day. That's pretty scary. And they make the smallest fraction of what the actual actor makes. That's crazy. I think if I was like a Tom Cruise, I think I would want to give half of my salary to my stunt double if I'm doing an action movie. You know, I wouldn't feel good if I didn't do that. Oh yeah, the skeleton that comes out of the ground. Oh yeah, send more paramedics. See, that's what's great about this too. Is like the zombies don't talk, but when they do talk, it's for comedic effect, and they're really funny. But when they're not funny, they're dangerous. Like there are some creepy moments in this movie. Now you see how those actors, they're like breathing heavy. I'm wondering if they like run in place before action, because that's what I would do. Have you guys ever seen that like behind the scenes of The Shining, and you see like Jack Nicholson? He's like pumping himself up before the big "Here's Johnny" scene. It's really cool to watch. But he's literally like holding the axe and he's like jumping up and down, getting himself psyched up. You know, even somebody as great as Jack Nicholson uses those old tricks. You know. Michael L. Rake says, off topic, but kind of goes with set mistakes and accidents. Did any of you ever catch Freddy falling over the stairs and into a bed mattress in Nightmare on Elm Street? When he's chasing Nancy once she's pulled him out. No, I've never seen that. Is that on the Never Sleep Again documentary? I don't remember it. I've seen that documentary, but it's been a few years. That's probably why Tom does most of his own stunts. Doesn't want to give up that money. Yeah, that's a good point. Out of all the actors I had to bring up the one actor that likes to do his own stunts. Oh yeah, here's this was a creepy scene. You have this like guy with no legs as a zombie. You know, they just hired this guy with no legs as a zombie, and seeing him walk, you know, across the grass, it's pretty creepy looking. Boy, I tell you, this cast, they really gave it their all in this movie. And I think it's good that you had this mixture of like veteran actors with these new fresh faces. I think when you're young and you're first, working in Hollywood, it's probably nice to have somebody with that much experience to kind of feed off of. Oh, there's an iconic scene. All the arms through the door. It's interesting too because like in the 80s, when like hair metal and all that was popular, which I listened to a lot of hair metal in the 80s. They didn't go that route, and this seems like the type of movie that you could have probably put that type of music in this movie and it would fit. But they went with more like underground alternative music, kind of like the Dead Kennedys and stuff like that. But the soundtrack to this movie is like almost just as important as the movie is. Like it just that's a creepy image right there. You got the freaking dude eating his brains out. That's what's great about this movie. It has a little bit of everything. More paramedics. So zombies are like just smart enough to know what they want, I could not work in a funeral home. No way. That would be pretty freaky. But I do like movies that take place in funeral homes. Those are always like Autopsy of Jane Doe. That's great. What's the movie? Hannah Grace, I think it is. Which I thought it was going to be horrible, but that was actually pretty good. I mean, I went in with the lowest of lowest expectations, but it was kind of like a slasher movie in where the killer is the dead body. Something of Hannah Grace. Help me out, guys. I can't remember what it is. I'll look it up here. Hold on. Oh, what time are we at in the movie? Let me see. Hold on. I'll look. Okay, we are at 59 minutes exactly. 59 minutes. And Freddy looks like he is not going to be able to make the dance. He's looking pretty rough. I only found out this year that Stacey Q is on the soundtrack. She was my favorite pop singer in the 80s. Yeah, I liked... she had like one really big hit in the 80s, I remember. Didn't she do Two of Hearts? Oh, yeah, that's right. Phantasm does have a mortuary. Yeah, see, one thing is I never realized the possession of Hannah Grace. Thank you, Jason. One thing I never realized in this movie is like Tina and Freddie are dating, and they're never together in the movie until like an hour in. Martin, I saw Afterlife with Christina Ricci. That one was actually pretty decent. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah. It's so interesting that this is like the next movie after Night of the Living Dead for John Russo. And I believe the original intention was to be a more serious type of zombie movie. But this is, I mean, it's definitely got some seriousness to it, but it's so much more fast paced and, you know, it's chaotic. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very chaotic. Look at all the blood on that wall. I never realized that they're actually in the mortuary during this scene. But you can see all the coffins there. Now this skeleton, like she's like a half skeleton zombie. Is there a name for her? Because I can't remember if they actually give her a name or not. And I know you guys can help me out on that. Oh yeah, 80s music is the best. You know what I've been doing lately? I go on YouTube and I'll just type in like 80s soundtracks that I want to listen to. Like, you guys are gonna judge me and make fun of me, but I've been listening to the Teen Wolf soundtrack lately with Michael J. Fox. That's a really great soundtrack, actually. Yes, I do got to check out Night of the Living Dead remake. I keep hearing great things about that one, actually. Isn't that? Let me see how much that one is on Amazon, because I know it's that one's kind of tough to get, like it's out of print. Let's see, Night of the Living Dead, 1990. Although that's probably on YouTube. Oh wow. Oh, I see. So you can get it, but it looks like it's an umbrella release. It's a foreign release for $20. Luckily, I have a region free player. Actually, you can get it for $10. So I might just have to go ahead and order that. Oh, I watched Candyman and Hellraiser recently. Forgot how. Jason, man, I got this the vinyl soundtrack. I found it over, I think at FYE for Hellraiser. Man, that's a great soundtrack. Really good soundtrack. That's right. Tony Todd plays the main character, doesn't he? Yeah, I'm going to have to get it. I'm going to have to go ahead and order it. And I actually had People Under the Stairs. I actually have that because what I do is if I'm getting ready to watch a movie soon, I will put the Blu-ray out on my TV stand so that way it's there whenever. And so right now, People Under the Stairs, it's on my TV stand. Just so you know, Holly. So now we got this homeless guy. He's walking across the entrance of the cemetery. And this scene is so freaking iconic. Look at the way that's you got the fog. Linnea quickly walking out of the fog towards the homeless guy. What was the phrase of the day? Moldy crotch? I say the same thing every time I watch H2O. It's so funny how like H2O is like losing fans and Halloween 6 seems to like gain more fans as time goes by. Crotch mold, that's it. Thank you very much. Yeah, that bum got a raw deal. He thought some hot naked chick was was coming to make a move, and boy did she. Right in the jugular. That's great. As Clue Gallagher is talking, you look in the background and you can see the guy like moving and fidgeting. And the Oscar goes to. It's got to be fun as an actor to play a zombie. Because you can really just do anything. Oh, yeah. So now we're in the church scene. We're about to get to the scene where Freddy finally comes out as a zombie. And he says that really funny, iconic line. I say iconic way too much. Those damn enchiladas. What movie was that? Why? That sounds so familiar. Those damn enchiladas. That's going to drive me crazy now. Oh, I know. Part 5. Friday Part 5. That's right. Hey, I just realized something. The police guy, he was also the cop in Friday Part 6. I think so. Yep, Friday Part 5. That's it. Can you believe, if we could talk about Part 5 for a sec, it's amazing to me that they had an outhouse scene where the guy's not taking a piss. He's taking a shit. And then his girlfriend comes over to serenade him, to sing to him. And then they have this like sweet moment with each other. Only in a Friday the 13th movie. Only in a Friday the 13th movie. That scene's hilarious. Have you guys seen that remix that's on YouTube of that where somebody took the scene and then they made the outhouse like a rocket and it flew up into the air and they have like this dance beat behind it? It's hilarious. Just look it up if you ever get a chance. I love Friday Part 5 though. It's just a really fun movie. Oh baby, oh baby. These guys are like losing their fucking minds now. Like Freddy looks nasty now. I guess both of them look really nasty now. So Freddy and Frank look nasty as hell. That's it. I forgot Frank's name. I looked it up. Damn it. '80s ambulances are so cool. Everything about the '80s is so cool. My wife and I swear, it's like once a day we're always like, we were so lucky. Because we both went to high school in the '80s. And it was just such a magical time. It really was. If any of you that went to school in the '90s, pretty much the answer is yes. If you ever wondered like how awesome the '80s were to be in school and everything, it was that awesome. These guys were just subjected to 24 straight hours of Halloween Resurrection. Yeah, pretty much. Now, here's a question for you. If you had to watch one movie for 24 hours, would you want it to be your favorite movie, or would you want it to be your least favorite movie? Now, that sounds like an easy answer, but it's not. Because if you watch your favorite movie, by the end of it, you're going to hate your favorite movie and you're never going to watch it again. So my answer would be, I would want to watch my least favorite movie. Because after the 24 hours, there's really no harm done. If I never watch that movie again, that's fine. But if I've worn out, like say if I had to watch Halloween for 24 hours straight, it might be tough for me to watch Halloween again after 24 hours straight. It might be a while before I watch it again. Something to think about. I want each and every one of you to let me know the answer to that dilemma, to that question. I'll wait. So DJ says he would watch this. He could watch this for 24 hours. I'm just scared, and you might be right, but I'm just scared that it would soil the movie for me. That's what I'm scared of. Oh man, Tom Matthews really is going for it. He just broke through the door, and he's freaking out. Can I have the movie on but doing housework? No. You have to be watching it. That does not count. And so I got 10 people watching. So those of you that weren't paying attention, I'll repeat the question, okay? Would you rather watch your favorite movie for 24 hours or would you rather watch your least favorite movie for 24 hours? Okay, there you go. Martin says favorite. Am I going to be the only one that would rather watch my least favorite movie for 24 hours? I kind of figured I would be. So they just left the mortuary and they're trying to escape and the car is just completely engulfed in zombies. I'll take least favorite. I'll get some laughs. There you go. We're in this together, Holly. I would rather watch Twilight for 24 hours. And that way I'd never, ever, ever, ever have to watch it again. Plus, I could make fun of Twilight. Like, I think if I had to watch Twilight for 24 hours, I'd pay attention to it the first time. And during that first watch, I would, like, pick out things that I would want to make fun of for the rest of the 24 hours. And then I would just focus on those things. So it'd give me something to do the whole time. Mikey says he could watch Scream 12 times in a row. Favorite. Yeah. Scream is a really entertaining ass movie. So that is a good choice. So, I mean, if you had to pick your favorite movie, you'd want it to be something that there's just a lot going on. And there's a lot going on in Scream. To keep you, I guess, to keep you occupied. Now, speaking of Twilight, I remember it was like the cool thing to do to hate Twilight when it came out. And it is a really, really bad movie. But I'll admit, I was, as I do sometimes, I got caught up in the hype and I was curious. And so I wanted to watch it. That's an iconic image. Freddy just was like right at the camera doing his little scream. That's thumbnail material. But yeah, I was caught up in the hype, and I was just like, I need to check this movie out. And I watched it, and it's bad. It's a really bad movie. What's funny though is there are a couple of intense scenes like at the end. Like I really, the thing that I hate the most about it is Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. There's just this awkwardness to the two of them in that movie. But the villains I actually kind of dug in the movie. I guess the family outside of Robert Pattinson, I kind of dug. Especially the blonde haired dude who's like evil. I guess you had like this bad set of vampires. That's what it was. I retract my pick and repick In the Mouth of Madness. There's literally new stuff every time I see it. That's actually a good idea, to pick a movie that you get something new out of every time you watch it. For me, Zodiac is a movie that I find something new every time I watch it. I love Zodiac. And it's 3 hours, so you wouldn't have to watch it as many times. You'd have to watch it 8 times. That's it, 8 times. Goodbye, Frank. Yep. This has been a long night for this crew. It's crazy that like Return of the Living Dead didn't, at least I don't think it did that great at the box office. I'm almost positive it didn't. It became like this cult hit. But it's crazy to me to think that this wasn't a big hit back in the 80s, because it's so good, It's like such a great, fun zombie movie. But it's one that maybe that's why I never watched it, because I never heard too much about it until like the early 2000s. I guess that's one great thing about like DVD, and DVD really raised awareness for a lot of 80s movies, and it made a lot of movies cult hits. Like The Thing, I think you have to give credit to DVD for, I guess, reviving The Thing, because The Thing was dead and buried in when it came out in the 80s. Everybody hated it. John Carpenter went into a depression. And then here comes DVD, and they're re-releasing all these old movies, and then all of a sudden everybody started talking about The Thing. And like The Thing, everybody started talking about Return of the Living Dead. So, that's home video, it's great to be able to watch all these movies, but it's also a good thing because it revives a lot of movies. And then Blu-ray comes along, and then you have companies like Shout Factory that seek out, these old deep cuts. And it's really created a whole new life. And I think that really is a big reason why we have all these horror cons these days. If you think back in like the 80s and the 90s, you didn't have as many horror cons. But now, all these stars from like the 80s in those movies, it's like they have a new source of income now, And it's interesting that like Martin mentions Corey Haim. Like Corey Haim probably would have he probably would have been doing the convention circuit now. But it's a great thing. I love that all these old movies, these deep cuts, they find new life, And then we get horror groups, like Killer Flicks. We find all these old movies. Like I've found so many movies from Killer Flicks and other horror groups that I would have never found out about, like Savage Streets. Like I discovered Savage Streets, I believe, on Killer Flicks. Night of the Demons, I'm positive I heard of through Killer Flicks. Yeah, and I was talking to Tom Matthews when I was at Spooky Empire, and he's a member of quite a few horror groups himself, and he was telling me how cool he thinks it is. It's a great thing, and he never expected to be doing horror conventions at this point in his life, and even doing like Never Hike Alone. I think that's great too. It's like we're finding all these veteran like horror actors. They're finding work now because of the new life of their movies from the 80s. A lot of young filmmakers are reaching out to them, like Dee Wallace, and saying, "Hey, I want you to be in my movie." So it's really cool. DJ says I've introduced all these to my young nieces and nephews. They love them. So yeah. I actually introduced Return of the Living Dead to my son. I remember a couple years ago, and he loved it. He said he had a blast with it. And he really wants to watch like Night of the Living Dead. That's one that I've wanted to show him. But yeah, it's like all these young people are getting into these 80s movies, even earlier, like 70s movies. It's like they never die. They have a continued they have a continued lifespan. I think part of it too is like I think people get, I don't want to say sick of, but you had practical effects back then where now everything's like CGI. Not everything, but I don't know. It's just like 80s movies had a different feel to them than movies of today. And it's almost like something that we'll never get back. So we keep regurgitating it. We keep watching 80s movies because they're just so fun, so rewatchable. Did they ever explain why Bert didn't notify the military that they had those barrels to begin with? That's a good question. Very good question. And that's something they don't really even mention throughout the whole thing. Now, somebody was talking about we need some new vampire flicks. I want a new vampire flick that's like scary. I think the last one that we had was 30 Days of Night. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the last one I remember that was scary. Might get labeled as a terrible parent here, but my kids have seen a lot of these horror movies, and well, they are 5 and almost 3. But I make sure they understand the context of real. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is if you just talk to your kids about what they're looking at. I mean, a movie like Return of the Living Dead, it I don't think it's harmful at all to kids. I really don't. It's more fun than anything. And what's funny is like if you look at the rank on that soldier's shoulder, he looks like he's 12 years old, and he's got like, now I don't know what that insignia was. It looks sort of like army, but then it had like the 2 red stripes. But that was, if it was army, he'd be like I believe like a master sergeant or a senior chief or something like that. But they totally messed that up. That's one thing that like military guys, that's like a pet peeve of ours. Like I'll give you a perfect example. When and I think now they're showing this is the end of the movie. I'm sorry. We're at the end of the movie. But what I was going to say was like if you look at Transformers 1 and 2, in the first movie I can't remember the actor's name, but he's a tech sergeant in the movie. And then in the next movie, he's a chief master sergeant. So that means he jumped 3 ranks up in 2 years. And that is complete bullshit. If he got a step promotion, It's possible he could jump 2 ranks, and given I guess what they went through, that's fine. But to be a chief master sergeant, that's like an E9. So he went from an E6 to an E9 in 2 years. No way in hell. And so now I guess they're repeating that camera shot, that effect shot that goes through the. Oh, there's the skeleton again popping up. It's party time. I can't believe this movie's already over. Holy shit. That's crazy. It just flew right by. What a fun ass movie, though. I always have a blast watching Return of the Living Dead. And it's even funner watching it with you guys. So that was badass, guys. I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed hanging with you guys. And thank you for all the great topics and keeping the conversation flowing. So you guys prop me up. You guys help me, because it'd be hard for me to just sit here and talk and not have you guys help me out. So it was cool. Yeah, that's an awesome camera shot. So before I go, what are you guys doing for the rest of the night? You just kind of chilling? Are you gonna throw in something else? Or what are you doing? Let me know. I'll sit here with my my Mountain Dew. Michael Rake says, yeah, that isn't happening with rank. I got a friend in the Air Force. He waited a good 5 to 6 years to jump from tech sergeant to master. Yeah, that's about right for me too. Let's see. I made master in 2011, and I made tech sergeant in 2006. So yeah, it's a good 5 years. And I had to test like 4 times to finally get master sergeant. So yeah, it gets a little harder with every rank that you try to make. So yeah, I had fun with this too. It's 3 p.m. in New Zealand. Martin Renner, you live in New Zealand? That's awesome. Yeah, I know. Are you guys on the same timeline as Australia? Maybe an hour, give or take. Would you ever consider doing a double feature stream? Yeah, that could be fun, actually. Yeah, that was fun, actually, talking about double features. But yeah, that could be a blast, actually. And hell, maybe like down the road we can do a stream where I can actually get a couple of you guys on Skype, and that way we could literally like talk to each other while we're watching the movie. If you guys would ever want to do that, that could be badass. Same timeline. That's what I figured. That's awesome, though. I've always wanted to visit New Zealand. I hear it's really beautiful there. Have you ever been to? Did you ever go to the where they shot the Lord of the Rings? I'm sure you get asked that at least once every hour. Lord of the Rings is one of my all-time favorite trilogies, by the way. I consider it like just one movie, all 3 movies. And if you do all 3 movies extended edition, it's like 12 hours. Cool. So DJ, you'd totally be down for that? But yeah, that'd be pretty cool, actually. If you guys ever want to do that, maybe we can do that for the next one. Get some Skype windows up, and we can all just, watch the movie together and chat it up. That way you don't have to listen to my dumb mouth the whole time. Yeah. So the credits just rolled. Hobbiton is a popular tourist attraction here. I'm sure it is. I would love to visit New Zealand, though. That'd be badass. I'd like to visit Australia. So I wish that's what they don't have like an Air Force station. Although when I was in Afghanistan, I served with some Australians and worked with some couple guys. They were really cool, actually. Really laid back. I don't know if everybody's like that in Australia, but these 2 guys, they were just really cool. And they were officers, but they were just really laid back. They were, they didn't seem like they were full of themselves like some can be. So, but yeah, it was awesome. Do you listen to Alien Weaponry? I've never heard. Is that a band? Alien Weaponry? I'll have to check them out. We barely have an army, huh? That's funny. So how far of a flight is it from New Zealand to Australia? Or can you just drive there? You can tell how geographically challenged I am, by the way. It's a metal band that sings in Maori. Oh, okay. I'll look them up then. I love metal, so I'll look them up. Alien Weaponry. Young trash metal from New Zealand. Cool. Very cool. Well, guys, I guess I'm going to hang it up for the night. I will put out some feelers for the next live stream for next month. And really had a blast hanging out with you guys this time around. Michael Rake says, I got some family in Australia, which, fun fact, my great uncle was the director of Rustberry Toys, the people who brought the scourge of troll dolls with the dumb hair to oh, that's cool. That's crazy. They're only 15. The band's only 15 years old? I'm sure you guys remember Silverchair. They were 14 when they did their first album from Australia. So by the time Silverchair had their third album out, they were 19. That's crazy. No problem. No problem, DJ. This was a lot of fun, man. I had a blast. You guys make it easy. Me too, Holly. Had a lot of fun. All right, I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this thing then. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go to here. Yeah. All right. So I hope you guys have a great night, okay? And stay classy. I'll see my patrons on the other side. That's stupid.